Stephen A. Smith Show starts right now.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the latest edition of the Stephen A. Smith Show, coming at you as I love to do every weekday over the airwaves of ESPN Radio and ESPN News, 250-plus markets across the United States of America, plus ESPN Radio on Sirius XM Channel 80, plus ESPN Radio, simulcast over the live national television airwaves of ESPN News. Number to call up, as always, is 888-SAY-ESPN. That's 888-729-3776. You are listening live to the Stephen A. Smith Show right here on ESPN Radio and ESPN News. Thank you for joining the show. Got a jam-packed show coming your way today. Got a lot of stuff to get into. Of course, the first order of business is for me to get into some NBA basketball, but I would tell people everywhere from New York to Houston to L.A., don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere at all, because, boy, do I got a lot of stuff to tell y'all about some things that are percolating, particularly in free agency. We will get into all of that as today's show progresses, because you need to know, and I'm going to be here to tell you. 888-SAY-ESPN. Again, that's the number to call up. That's 888-729-3776. ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive's Home Insurance. Get your quote at progressive.com today. Time for Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Best phones, best networks, no contracts. Ladies and gentlemen, I was wrong. Let's start off the show right there. I was wrong. And I was wrong because I actually thought that this series between the Milwaukee Bucks and the Toronto Raptors was over after game one. Milwaukee had a week off. They were a bit rusty. They showed it in game one when they only hit 25% of their three-point shots. And then you had Kyle Lowry drop 30. You had Kawhi Leonard drop 31. And Toronto still managed to lose that game. And I was of the mindset, you know something? This ain't going to be no damn series. Toronto don't have the horses. They don't have anybody to help Kawhi. They don't have anybody else other than him to stop the bleeding. What the hell are they going to do? That's what I was thinking. And then game two comes in, and Milwaukee just ramrods the Toronto Raptors, blows them out of the state of Wisconsin. Just beat them up. Jumped out to a 35-21 lead in the first quarter and never looked back. Up by 25 at halftime. Never looked back. And I said, damn, this ain't even a game. And then game three showed up, and I predicted that Toronto would win that game because that's the one game in this series I thought they would win. And they handled their business on their home court. Although Kawhi Leonard got hurt early in that game, came down, looked like his knee buckled on the floor a little bit. And as a result, he didn't seem to be himself the rest of the game, but still played valiantly, still defended against the Greek Freak, still held the Greek Freak to 1 of 9 shooting whenever he was guarding the Greek Freak. Giannis Antetokounmpo, for those of you who needed me to make sure I say his name. And as a result, you pull within 2-1. But I expected the Milwaukee Bucks to come out last night and handle their business, because I didn't expect that Giannis Antetokounmpo would have a second consecutive bad game. I thought Middleton and others would step up. I thought they would clearly hit some perimeter shots. And as a result, Toronto would have no choice but to fold. This series would be 3-1, going back to Milwaukee, and Milwaukee would close them out Thursday night in Game 5. Well, pump the brakes. Because, ladies and gentlemen, if you look at what's transpiring, if you pay attention to what is going on, and you really, really watch, you're seeing a Toronto Raptors team that seems to have figured something out. Kawhi Leonard is hobbled. He's not himself. Doesn't matter. Kyle Lowry drops 25. Kawhi Leonard is not himself, not the offensive juggernaut that he has been throughout these playoffs. Doesn't matter. Marc Gasol suddenly has hit 3. He's hit 7 3-pointers in the last 2 games. Games 3 and 4, Marc Gasol has hit 7 3-pointers. Then you got a situation where you're looking at guys like Norman Powell. Shot 13 3-pointers, only hit 4, but damn was he aggressive. You look at Fred VanVleet, he hit a couple of threes. You look at the production off the bench. Overall, Milwaukee got outscored 48-23. Brogdon got held to 4 points. Ilyasova was a non-factor. Danny Green, what was he doing? And still Toronto won. Eric Bledsoe has not been impressive, to say the least. And Toronto has now notched the series. Now, if you pay attention, you see what has transpired. And what has transpired is very, very simple. Whether it's Brook Lopez, whether it's Mirotic, I don't know why I keep mispronouncing his name, Mirotic. Whether it was Ursan Ilyasova, you put these guys in situations where they got a guard, you switch, and you make sure they're guarding somebody on the ball. They can't do it. They can't do it. And as a result, it's problematic for the Milwaukee Bucks in terms of what they want to do defensively. They're compromised because of it. It makes them tight offensively. And there you have it. They look like a shell of themselves, fully incapable of doing whatever it takes. This is what we're looking at when we're talking about the Milwaukee Bucks right now. And the only thing, if you're the Milwaukee Bucks, that looks good for you right now is that Kawhi Leonard may not be healthy. He may have done damage to that left leg. We don't know yet. But he was hobbled all last night. And somehow, some way, you got to figure it out. This is what the situation is right now. The Milwaukee Bucks went from having this series locked up after 2 games to being on the brink of elimination. The series is tied 2-2. It goes back to Milwaukee Thursday night. They've got to show up. And oh, by the way, let's not let the Greek Freak off the hook. Yes, he had 25 and 10. He started out in the first quarter with about 10, 12 points. He was relatively quiet the rest of the way. That's number one. Number two, they were a minus 19 with him on the court. That almost never happens. Number three, Middleton had 30. They were still a minus 17 with him on the floor. Number four, Brogdon, where was he? Ilyasova, where was he? Connaughton, where was he? Bledsoe, where is he? This is what the situation is. It's not pleasant right now, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here to tell you, it's not pleasant at all. And the Toronto Raptors are on the cusp of taking a 3-2 lead in this series. The Milwaukee Bucks have to show up. And by the way, all of this noise I was making about how the Milwaukee Bucks would win the world championship if it wasn't for KD, if KD is not healthy, I take it back. Ain't nobody beating the Golden State Warriors. Nobody's beating them. Unless the Golden State Warriors suddenly can't shoot. Nobody's beating them. Because you see, that's really, really the difference, ladies and gentlemen. You watch the Milwaukee Bucks, they're missing free throws. Golden State ain't missing free throws. Perimeter shooting disappearing because they're contested shots with somebody in one of their faces for Milwaukee. That ain't going to make Golden State miss shots. You take away one playmaker, what you going to do with the others? That ain't going to happen to Golden State. When you look at Looney and you look at Cook and you look at McKinney and you combine that with Draymond and Clay and Steph, and Iguodala's going to be back now. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got problems. We got problems. Not only can the Golden State Warriors be expected to win the championship, they might steamroll through the East. They might sweep people. We didn't expect them to sweep Portland. Got my man Charles Barkley on the air giving apologies because he swore Portland was going to win, was going to go to the finals. That's not what happened here. Because Golden State is something special. They make shots. They make shots. And so somehow, some way, you're going to have to figure all of this out. Because if you don't, Lord help you. 888-SAY-ESPN is the number to call. This 888-729-3776. You are listening live to the Stephen A. Smith Show, ESPN Radio, ESPN News. I want to get to another subject because Kevin Durant is in the news for different reasons at this particular moment in time. He's in the news for different reasons. And I think it's important that we recognize this because Kevin Durant is a person I consider to be the best player in the world. He's just an offensive juggernaut, the likes of which we may not have seen. At 6'10", 6'11", with a 7'6" wingspan, with that handle, who can pull up from 30, has a mid-range game, has a fast break game, has a three-point game, has a free throw game. It doesn't matter. And his defense has improved to the point when he's one of the premier defenders in the game of basketball right now. So I say all of that to you to say this. Obviously, when you talk about free agency, you're going to wonder about Kevin Durant. Here's why you also wondering about Kevin Durant. Because guess what? Magic Johnson came on First Take Monday. And Magic Johnson spilled the beans about the Los Angeles Lakers. Why is that a problem? Because, ladies and gentlemen, at least two individuals were considering partnering with KD. One or the other, Kyrie or Kawhi. Now that might not be the case. We don't know. We just don't know. But his manager, who's got everything, who's intimately involved in KD negotiations, who will be at the negotiating table, whose sole responsibility is to protect the interest of Kevin Durant. Rich Kleinman was speaking yesterday, and my producers will refresh my memory as to where he was speaking, but he was speaking yesterday. Wall Street Journal article. He was being interviewed by the Wall Street Journal. Well, he was being interviewed and the Wall Street Journal wrote an article. And Rich Kleinman was speaking. And listen to what he had to say when asked about Kevin Durant. Take it away, y'all.
What you're saying is that this has not been decided. There's no hidden handshake agreement.
No.
With the New York Knicks?
No.
No, nothing like that?
No.
Okay. All right.
That is 100% undecided, and I'm waiting on Kevin. You know, that's the truth. I think there's a feeling that this thing is like war games, and everybody's kind of like
playing a role.
Yeah, playing chess like years out. But when somebody gets to the level of